So this is video 3 of how to find your ideal diet, and first I want to say thank you so much for your excitement and your comments and everything about the first 2 videos. I'm glad that you're finding it helpful and it resonated, and I hope that some of you are looking already into finding your root cause, and that's helping, because it's really important in making sure that you are finally getting results. Because like I said in that video, you can have the best diet in the world, you can be eating super clean, exercising very consistently, but if you are not working on the thing that's holding you back, that core stressor in your life, you're going to be forever stuck. So it's really important that in addition to eating well and exercising, doing all the things, that you're also addressing that root cause that I talked about in video 1. And if you need help with that, I said I had a free download that you can see here, or you can ping me a message and I'll send it to you. And that will really help you figure out, okay, what is the thing I should be working on? Because you can't work on all the things, but you should focus on one thing, at least one thing at a time, before you move on to something else. But I promise you, if you work on it in this, at the same time as eating well and exercising and sleeping and all the things, you're going to get that much closer to results, and it's going to work a lot faster. And then for video 2, we talked about how to intuitively eat, and I gave you the exact outline of how to do that by tracking your moods, by tracking your energy and your sleep, the whole thing about what your body is doing on a day-to-day basis, because that's really what's going to lead you to finally figure out what is working food-wise and what's not. So if you haven't had a chance, go back to that video, because I really outline it really clearly. And again, I have another free download below, or send me a message if you don't see it here, of an actual mood tracker, so you can have something that you can print out and actually start tracking all your stuff. And I have a really nice, easy, thing to print out, and you can write it all down, and it's really simple. So you can download that, and you can print one for every day for as long as you want to do this, okay? Now, real quickly, I just want to recap who I am in case you're just tuning in for the first time and this is the first video that you're watching. My name is Leah Faraday. I'm an integrative certified nutrition coach. I've been a nutrition coach for over 5 years now, but I've been teaching nutrition for about 9 years now as a professor. So everything that I teach out in the world is what I give to you guys on a day-to-day basis. So I just want to say thank you for being here, thank you for watching me, because this literally is the thing that I live and breathe. No joke, I wake up thinking about this stuff, I go to bed thinking about this stuff, because I love it so much. And how can I make it easy for people to eat healthier? Because I know it gets very confusing out there with all the different nutrition people you're following, all the different noise that you're hearing, all the different, controversial things in terms of food. I mean, one way is one way doesn't work on another day. It gets too muddled. So my job is to really just make it easy for you to figure out, okay, this is the thing that works, and you should only be doing this thing. So I try to make it as clear and as simplified as I can, and that's really what I love doing. So before we finish up this 3-part series, there was a couple questions from the last video that I thought I would quickly go over in case you're thinking the same things. And one of them is in terms of figuring how to intuitively eat. So some people are like, okay, if I tracked all my stuff and I still don't know what it's telling me what to do, and if that's you and you're still not sure what to look at or what you're doing, then I would really recommend laying it all out in front of you and taking a bird's eye view over it. Because sometimes if you're in the moment, for many people they can see things right away, but for some people it just can't, because you're too into it, it's too you. So if you kind of take a bird's eye view over it, kind of check, okay, what am I writing down a lot of? Am I writing down I'm tired a lot? That's something to keep mind of. So if you're tired a lot, what's happening before you're tired? And most people, it's usually the same thing. So you can kind of, go backwards. You can say, okay, what am I doing before I wrote this down? And I can kind of lead you into what's making you feel tired. So if you're finding that you are having trouble waking up in the morning because of a dinner maybe you ate last night, then that's where you want to start looking at your dinner, what you ate. Did you eat enough protein? Did you eat enough vegetables? Did you eat too much sugar or added processed chemical things? That could be a good indicator. Maybe that's not working for you. Or maybe you woke up and you were fine, but then you ate breakfast and then you started feeling tired and irritable and lethargic. Well, then look at your breakfast. Maybe again, it's too much sugar, not enough protein. Maybe you got to tweak your breakfast a bit. And then you kind of go from there. Or perhaps you're writing down a lot that you are stressed at certain certain parts during the day. Again, kind of see what's leading up to that, and maybe you can lead there. So it's a really good way of figuring out, okay, what am I seeing here, by figuring out what are you writing down a lot of and seeing if there's any connections there. Are you doing the same things before you're writing that down? And it's a really helpful way of figuring out what's going on. And some of you are asking why I didn't include food. So I did that for a reason, because I'm very, acutely aware of there's a lot of people who don't want to food track because of a past eating disorder history. So I'm very leery of putting that out there, especially to the masses, especially because I don't know everyone. I don't know what you guys are, what your history is. And I also feel like you don't necessarily have to do it, at least not first. By just paying more attention to your moods, your feelings, your actions, your energy, all that stuff first is a really excellent starting point into just knowing what's going on with your body. And that's really what intuitive eating is all about. It's just being in tune with your body. Okay, but if you don't have a past history with eating disorders, or you are like, oh, let's food track, and you're just like, let's do it, then feel free to food track on top of that, because that will also help you lead to more patterns and more linkages even faster, because then you can really see what you are eating in real time, in addition to the observations that you wrote down. So if you feel comfortable and you don't have a past negative history about food tracking, then please track your food. The only thing I would be very careful of is just tracking calories. I'm really against counting calories, because calories, that number in itself doesn't tell you much. And I can explain more of that in a different video if you like, because I think that's too much for this video. But at the minimum, or at least first, I would just track the macros and maybe your added sugar, your fiber, and like water, stuff like that at the very, starting point. And if you feel like you want to go past that, then that's fine. But I think just those things alone will actually give you a lot of information. Okay. And another question I'm getting is, you just want a starting point. You just want a place to start. And this is where the trifecta diet, or the trifecta strategy that I talk a lot about, you can actually probably go back and look at some of my old videos. But really what that is, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, so I live by based on science, what science has told me. Again, I've been teaching science, nutrition science, for almost 10 years. And these 3 things are the things that everybody needs to eat, no matter what version of you eating them are. But it's really these 3 core things that everybody needs in every single meal that gives you a really good baseline of what to eat. And that is protein, fiber, and healthy fats and fats. So if you can include all 3 of those things in each meal or each snack, you're actually is a really excellent starting point for comprising meals in a way that's not only going to fill you up fast, it's going to keep you full, so you're not going to get snacky or hungry too quickly. It's also going to optimize your metabolism, and it's also going to optimize your digestion and your immunity if you're sticking to whole-based versions of them. So again, protein, fiber, and fat. If you just do those 3 things at each meal, it's actually an excellent starting point. Okay. And something else I want to mention too, and I always bring this up, I say sometimes the food can get too overwhelming, or you don't know where to go. And I always tell people, if you do nothing else, just start with water. Just add more water into your day-to-day, and you are going to be setting yourself up to be a lot more successful, and you're going to see a lot of results just by doing that one thing, because water is going to help flush you out. It's going to, again, increase your metabolism, your digestion. It's going to energize you. It's going to help you sleep better. Just increasing water, because most of us are actually walking around dehydrated because we're drinking a lot of coffee or energy drinks or juices or sodas, and we're not drinking enough just water. So if you can't do anything else, or everything else is just overwhelming, and you need just like a small starting point, just start with just adding more water, and I promise you, you're going to feel better just with that alone. Okay? And finally, is how do we know if everything is working? Well, the honest, simplest answer is you're gonna feel good. I mean, I've taught nutrition for so long, and I know that people always want me to give them like the holy grail diet. Just tell me the thing. And I always say, it doesn't matter as long as you keep the main things, but you'll always know if something is working by how you feel. If you feel good every day, if your energy is good every day, you don't feel lethargic, you don't feel irritable, you don't feel lazy, you feel motivated, productive, and like you want to do things. If your digestion is moving and grooving, if you know what I mean, everything is good in that department. If you're sleeping really good, you're falling asleep fast, you're staying asleep, you wake up feeling energized, and you know that that's working. If you can handle stress well, because stressors are always going to come at us. Like, we're never going to live in a time where we're not going to be stressed or things coming at us. But if you have really good coping mechanisms for stress, you have really good healthy things in place that you know you can handle stress well, then you know you're doing a good job. If everything looks good and you feel good, health is overall good, you know, there's nothing like hurting, you know what I mean? There's nothing overall physically wrong. And like I said, your digestion is really good, your energy is really good, you're sleeping really good, you just overall really good, then you know that what you're eating is working. So just keep doing it. Ignore all the noise, going with whatever you're doing, okay? So I'm going to give you one example, and this is a common goal for, I think, most people, is you just want to lose weight. And I want to kind of give you like a big picture scenario here. I know we kind of really focus on the physical exterior image of losing weight and what that looks like, and obviously shrinking, getting leaner and smaller. But I want to ask you, if whatever your health goal is, it could pertain to losing weight or whatever it is, this, you can answer all the same questions. But when you lose the weight, honestly ask yourself, what will be different in your life? Will you be happier? Will you be more confident or self-assured? I mean, what would a happier, more confident you be able to do differently that you're not doing right now? Will you have the courage to speak up more, face your fears, maybe show up better in life? Because it's never really just the weight or the physical health aspect. It's usually the thing that you're going to get from fixing that part, right? So you want to think of the big picture. And this is really going back to why it matters and why I think it's so important to eat better, to exercise, sleep, all the things that I constantly harp on every single time, because this is your life and there's probably something in your life that you feel like is missing. There's a part that you feel like is like out of reach and you're like, I just gotta get there, right? Like there's something there and you feel like losing weight is what's gonna get you there. And it can, right? But it's not the weight, it's the journey of getting there. The journey of taking the steps, being consistent in eating better, eating well, exercising consistently, drinking more water, basic things that so many of us are just not doing consistently enough. But those things, that path, is what's going to lead you to that thing, that kind of vision of yourself that you want to become, that happier version of you, that more confident you, maybe that you has a better job or a better relationship or lives somewhere more exciting, whatever that thing is that you feel like is missing in your life. The reason why you're not there yet is because something in your health or something in that path to health isn't there yet, right? So by the action of literally just eating better and being consistent with your eating and being consistent with exercise and water and not letting life take over in a way that will prevent us from doing that, right? So finding that core reason of that thing that's holding you back is what's going to help you get there faster. So when you are healthier, when you eat better, that thing becomes easier to achieve because you feel better about yourself. You feel more confident. You feel more self-assured. You have more energy, so you're more productive. You're more motivated to reach for that thing that you're so striving for. And I say this from personal experience, and I feel very strongly about this topic because I know it might not seem like it now, but I'm actually a very shy introvert, I guess. So even coming on camera, it took me a very long time to work their nerve to do this and not have to hit re-record over and over again. Like I can do this in like pretty much one shot now. But I literally, my entire life, since the moment I think I was born, I know my mom used to tell me I was the shyest person in preschool. Like she would leave me there crying because I didn't want to talk to anybody. And then even just going to college, I was very scared. But eventually I forced myself out of it. And the reason I forced myself out of it is because there was a different life that I wanted to achieve. So in my 20s, I worked in corporate my entire 20s career, I guess. I worked for a major pharmaceutical company, again, big corporate environment. And I was that person who was afraid to speak up, afraid to make waves, if you will. And it kept me stuck because I think for any of us who's worked in that type of environment, or maybe other working environments is probably similar, that the people who tend to get the head to get, further along in their careers or get promoted faster are the ones that can speak up, right? They're the ones that, they know all the right people, they're really social, they play the game really well, right? I wasn't that person. I was really shell shocked, if you will. So even if I was going at my job on paper, it didn't matter. I never got the promotion. I never got the upgrades because I couldn't speak up. I was too afraid. And now, as a business owner, doing this every day is freaking scary for me. Like every day is a scary experience for me because it's my job to put myself out there every single day. I do these videos every single day. I put myself out there as a professor talking in front of college students, which can be scary in itself too. And I went from the shyest person in the world to having the courage to speak in front of people now. Doesn't faze me. Like I was joking with somebody, I said I could literally speak in front of like an auditorium of people now. Like I just don't care anymore. And I think because it took me years and years and years of working on myself, but there were specific things that I did that got there. And now knowing I'm going against the norm, right? Like I could have stayed in that cushy corporate job. I could have stayed, with a good paycheck, the benefits, but I quit. I went against the norm. And in order for me to go against the norm, I had to be more fearless. And because I learned a long time ago, sorry, I know I keep hitting my mic. I talk with my hands. I learned a long time ago that the best things in life are on the other side of fear. Too many of us settle. Too many of us allow fear to dictate our lives. Too many of us just don't we're too afraid to follow our passions and our dreams because we are just too damn stuck and just too afraid of just trying and going into the unknown. And I see so many people every day, especially people closest to me, too afraid to get out of their own way, and they're miserable and they don't know what to do and they feel stuck. And it makes me sad because you see people with so much potential in life and they can't get out of their own way. And I don't want to spend my life like that. I don't want to spend my life afraid of the what ifs because there's always going to be a what if. I mean, what if you fail? But you're failing just by not trying. But what if you succeed? What does that life look like? To me, it's worth trying because the what ifs, on the other side of that, the what if it works? What if the thing that you're so afraid of actually comes to pass? How would your life be so much different? To me, I feel like I have to try. I have to see what's on the other side of this mountain hurdle or this fear hurdle, whatever it is, because I want what's on the other side so damn much that I will literally do anything to get there. Because my future on the other side of this fear, I said, being a business owner, doing this, I know it might look, fancy on camera and all this stuff, but believe it or not, what I do every single day is incredibly difficult, and anyone who's owned a business knows it's so hard. It's really scary. You're kind of like alone on an island a little bit most days. But it's worth it for me to face my fears every single day, because I see what's on the other side. I see that thing, as I mentioned before, that version of me that I want so bad. I'm not afraid to go after it, because to me it's worth it. I see my future on the other side. I see myself finally being able to take my family, my kids on vacation, you know, actually flying somewhere and doing something, finally owning a home for the first time. And I want to be able to retire my husband from a stressful job. I want us to, you know, be a happy family unit every single day and be stress free. And in order for me to get there, I have to keep pursuing my dreams, and I have to be fearless every single day, which means I have to show up every single day, which means I have to have the energy and confidence to show up every single day. And the only way for me to have the energy and to show up every day and to have the confidence and be able to have the courage is the path through eating right, the path through exercising, the path through sleeping, all the things that I literally harp on every single day, because it matters. This is my life. I want a good one, and I have to do the necessary things to get there. And the only way to get there is by putting my health first, by making sure I'm consistent with my eating, making sure I know what to eat, make sure I'm consistent with my exercise, I'm drinking water, I'm sleeping, you know, literally all the things. You know, it's not a lot of things. It's literally like 4 main things. But if you do them consistently, suddenly your confidence soars. I'm able to be more motivated. I'm able to show up and be vulnerable in a video like this one, because I really sincerely believe this is the only path. And for so many people who are afraid, I want you to take a look at what it's worth to you. Is it worth staying stuck? Is it worth being afraid? Or is it worth going after your dreams, being fearless, and finally getting over the hurdle? And the path to doing that, like I said, is putting your health first. Finally understanding what you need to eat, finally understanding how to exercise properly, and finally understanding, you know, all the different health things that you need to do, because that's the only path to get there. Because when you do those things, suddenly you have the energy, the motivation, the productivity, all the things that will get you to that place, because you're going to be fearless on the other side of that. Now, in the next video, I have an amazing offer to share with you. I've been working on something that's been super scary for me, but I believe in it completely with all my heart that it's going to work. And it's something for you guys out there who have been so afraid and need this path for yourself. You've been looking for this path, and I want to share it with you, but I don't want to keep this video super long, so I'm going to share it in the next video, so stay tuned for that. Because if you are ready to take your own transformation to that next level, if you finally want to get on that path to overcoming your own mental hurdles, to face your own fears, I'm going to give you the actual steps to do it. I'm going to give you an actual food strategy, an actual exercise strategy, and also things that could potentially set you back. I'm going to teach you how to prevent them, and if they do arise, what you need to do so you don't lose your momentum, so you don't lose your results, so you don't get off the path. Okay, so this offer is only going to be released for about a week. I'm going to show it to you next week, and I hope you're excited for it, because I'm really excited for it. I've been working out for so long, and I want to thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me be vulnerable. I mean, I literally just poured my heart out to you guys. So thank you for listening. If you have anything to add or comments or questions, please share them below, and I'll see you on the next one.